This is Jim Matarano from All About Town, and welcome tonight. And I have with me two candidates who are running for two different offices in Yorktown this year. Richard Abbate. Richard, welcome to the show.
Yes, glad to be
Who's
here.
running for the justice spot.
Yes.
Right? And Diana Quast, who I know and love, who's running for
Thank
town
you for
clerk.
having me.
So thanks for coming on the show, and I want you to take a deep breath and just relax. And this campaign is nearing the end, and I was involved in 7 campaigns, 6 for the town board, and I can tell you they were grinds and they were grueling, and you're almost near the end. Can you tell me, Diana, now you're at the end of the campaign. How's it been? How's the campaign going?
I think it's been really great for me personally because I've gotten to go out and walk a lot of doors and talk to a lot of people, and that's one thing that I really enjoy. That's one thing about the town clerk's office that I really enjoy.
So
also.
for people that might be turning on and saying, who is Diana Quast? What are you running for, first of all?
I'm running for town clerk. I'm your deputy town clerk now. I've been deputy town clerk for the last 12 years. I was deputy town clerk in the town of Newcastle 4 years prior to that. So I have about almost 17 years of experience as a deputy town clerk. I've actually was acting town clerk in 2007 when Alice was called upon to move up to supervisor. And I'm running for town clerk because Alice is retiring. And
Yeah, Alice, and I go way back. I love Alice Roker. She's phenomenal. And I remember when I ran in '91, she'd already been elected, I think at least a couple of years in. And she's been like just the heart of the town for all these years. And I know she believes in you and she trusts you, and she lured you over, right, and made you her deputy.
That's true, she did.
And so you're obviously very familiar with the workings of the town clerk's office, is that right?
Yes, absolutely. A deputy town clerk does exactly what a town clerk does. So there's nothing in our office that I don't know how to do.
Is there anything that, if you look at the job itself and what the town clerk does, are there any areas where you feel there needs to be improvement, or are we getting more modernized, or what's your feeling about it? You've seen changes over the years, right?
Alice tries to do a change every year. So every year she says, think about what you want to change. And, and you always want to move, forward in whatever you do. But I'd like to do some changes. I'd like to maybe do a mobile town clerk's office and be able to maybe once or twice a month go to areas in town where we have seniors and it's hard for them to get out and around or get to town hall. And I'd like to do that and be able to make the town clerk's office available to everybody in town.
That's wonderful. I never thought of that. That's a good idea to be able to come out to the different the senior citizens who maybe are not that mobile, who can't get to town hall.
Exactly.
And now, Richard, you grew up before the cameras went on, but I've also met you a couple times. You grew up in the Bronx.
Yeah, in the Bronx.
And which is near and dear to my heart because I still work down there. And plus, although sad to say this morning, I'm a Yankee fan.
Yeah.
So what brought you to Yorktown? How did you move to Yorktown in the first place?
I got married when I was 28 years old, and I wound up in Westchester and Yonkers, and I was there for about 7 or 8 years. And by that time, I had 3 kids. My kids were getting older. We needed more space, and we needed a good school system. So I wound up in Yorktown for the school district. That's how I wound up here. Probably pretty much like everybody.
This is your first campaign, and this is your first campaign as well.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is your first campaign. You're
Yes.
running for the judicial office in New York. Now there are 2 of them. There's Sal Ligonia and there's Judge Raniolo, and you're
Yes.
running for Judge Raniolo's spot. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And tell me about your campaign. This is your first taste. You put your toe in the water. What's it like?
First time I've run. It's been a lot of work.
Yeah.
I guess I expected that, but I think it's been actually more work than I anticipated.
That's right.
Out every day.
Knocking on doors.
Knocking on doors, meeting people, which has been great. Most people are very receptive. They're glad to see you. They're happy we're out there and talking. So it's been good. It's a lot of work. We got about 4 more weeks to go. So looking forward to it.
I apologize for taking you away from the campaign trail tonight.
Yeah.
But Lanny Gilbert, my good friend, was supposed to take you out to dinner, but I guess he reneged. I think he left the studio. But so that must have had an impact on your family life. I mean, you're not home as much, right?
I am not home as much, so it's had a real impact on seeing my wife and my kids. And I'm a big proponent of eating dinner with my kids. And
Right.
I love.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3 boys.
What ages?
19, he's in SUNY Binghamton.
Good.
17, he's a senior at Yorktown High School, and 15, he's a sophomore at Yorktown High School.
Okay.
So one of the things I really like to do is cook. So normally I come home from work and I cook dinner, because I really enjoy that. And
No,
then
he didn't bring anything here tonight for us today.
and then we sit down and eat as a family. That's one of the things I've really been missing.
Now, where's your practice right now?
My office is in White Plains.
Okay. And what kind of practice do you have?
My practice is about 40% real estate, so I represent buyers and sellers, and I'm a settlement agent for a number of lenders. And the rest of it is bankruptcy, loan modifications, debt consolidation, that type of thing. And that's more litigation. I'm in court with those. I'm either defending foreclosures or I'm in federal court with the bankruptcies doing...
In White Plains?
In White Plains, yes.
What made you decide to take this on?
My kids are getting older now. My oldest is in college, and the second's going to be going to college soon. And I've spent a lot of time with scouting, boy scouting, to give back to my community. And actually, I'm assistant scoutmaster, and all three of my sons are Eagle Scouts.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks. But now they're getting older, and they're consuming less of my time. The two oldest have keys to a car, and they're gone, and they're like, hey, Dad, bye, Dad. So I was looking for another opportunity to fill my time and serve my community, and I thought with my background in education and training, this would be a great way to do it.
Like I said, I've been involved in, Diana, you know, I write a column for a newspaper that apparently nobody reads it. You two certainly don't. But for the local Yorktown paper, and I love doing it, and I've been involved in Yorktown politics a long time. And I can tell you sometimes during the political season, it gets a little bit tough. What's your experience been? Has it been tough? It
is tough. It's tough to be away from your family so much and things like that. And I know.
What about the negativity?
You know, we haven't hit a lot of negativity. I mean, there has been a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it's been positive and a positive experience for me anyway.
What about you, Richard? I know,
we
talked a little bit about the signs.
Most of the negativity I'm experiencing is a lot of my signs are missing. Probably about 175 I'm approaching now.
Signs are missing?
Signs are missing off private property. I have permission of the owners, and a big part of my morning routine now is I probably spend an hour replacing those signs every morning on my way to work. Yeah, because I know they're going to be gone. Although it's been good the last day or two.
It's funny because judicial races and even town clerk races are supposed to be pretty much above the political fray. You know, I mean, we're running for councilman. Oh my God, running for supervisor. Whew, you know, it can get tough. You know, all kinds of attacks back and forth, which doesn't have to be, by the way. In my 20 years, and you know, one of the things I'm most proud of is that I never attacked anyone ever in 20 years, and very seldom was I ever attacked. Very seldom. I can count on one hand. And you know, I think you give what you get, and if you start attacking people, you're going to get it back. And I think once you start attacking people, I think we have a responsibility to our community to do whatever we can to keep things on a level, you know, on a very warm level.
I agree 100%.
On a collegiate level. You know, we're all in this together. We're all Yorktowners first and foremost.
Right, and the day after election, we're all going to still be neighbors. I say that all the time.
Even the day before, you're still neighbors.
Yeah, so I don't want to say or do anything that I can't live with.
Well, let me ask you this. Election day comes and you're elected. What would Judge Abbate be like? What would your courtroom be like?
It would be fair and impartial. I would listen to both sides of a case. I try and keep the calendar moving, because I've been on the other hand where I'm sitting there and I've read the paper. You're waiting to go, getting called. I've read the paper 3 times. I've checked my email 6 times. You know, so you have to respect the attorneys, that these guys are just trying to make a living. And the longer you keep them there, and girls, right, the longer you keep them there, the harder it is for them to get to other stuff and make some money. I've been a solo, been practicing 22 years, but I've been on my own, my own practice since 2000.
Right.
So I know what it is to be, especially a solo guy where I have nobody else to rely on. Sometimes I have to be in 2 spots at the same time, and I run, and I make it, and I come dashing in, and I just make it on the second call.
I have to tell you that Yorktown courts are, and I go way back, are traditionally wonderful places, I think, where the judges have been more than cordial over so many years and continue to be today. And I'm sure you will continue that tradition.
Yes, absolutely.
And they're very cognizant of the demands of practice, of a law practice. And I think they do everything that they can to get the lawyers in and out as quickly as possible. Now, you mentioned earlier, I couldn't believe it, that you knew Mariana Hogan, and from way back when, and Teresa, people I knew at Legal Aid a zillion years ago. But you don't have any criminal experience. How would you handle criminal cases? How would you come up to speed on that?
I've been a practicing attorney for 22
you've had some
years.
criminal.
I'm very familiar with reading statutes, interpreting the statutes,
Right.
penal
Plus,
laws.
plus you have the experience when you were legal aid.
Correct. I did
remember
an
that.
internship at Legal Aid,
Right.
and I've had some experience with it. And over the years, I've handled just a couple of little minor type of
Right, so you
cases.
could come up to speed very quickly.
Right,
on
but the other items in the court, I'm already up to speed. I already handled landlord-tenant matters. I already handled civil litigation. I've handled a number of traffic tickets for clients and code violations for
Because that court
clients.
does do a lot of different things. You
Right.
do contracts, you do landlord-tenant, you do criminal, you do all kinds of things.
Right.
So it is an interesting court. I've spent some time there just watching. And have you ever gone over there and spent some time?
I have. I've
Yeah.
sat in there a number of times for handling tickets
Right,
for
right,
friends
right,
and
right.
family, or I've been there with the Boy Scouts. One of the
Oh,
merit
yes.
badges we do is citizenship of the community.
Yes.
One of the things you have to do is do a court visit. So I
Yeah,
go
so-
up
so
with
you
the
spend-
troop, and we
so-
spend the couple of hours there watching what's going on.
It's very interesting. Now, the town clerk, when people go to communicate with the town, when they have an interaction with the town, often it's just with the clerk or the person they meet, or if they're going to go to the building department. I mean,
It's
you
like
are
the first stop. It's
yeah,
the
and-
first stop. When you
and-
come into town hall, normally the town clerk's the first stop. Where do I go to pay my taxes? Where's the building department? How can I get sewers? So it's like the hub of the community. So really what goes on, everybody stops there that says, where do I go here? Where do I do there?
And you interact with the supervisor's office very much.
Yes, we do.
And the person who's running against you, Mary, is a person that you interact with, and how are you two getting along?
For me, it's the same. She has a job to do, and I have a job to do. So, and we just work it out.
You work it
Just
out.
work it out.
That's the best way to be. But I always found that if you have people in town government who are negative, and you're not, but the citizens get a negative taste about their interaction. So it's very important from the town's perspective to have people that are positive, and that's what you intend to do. You intend to have a town. What about the staffing in the town clerk's office? You're losing Alice. Are you going to need to hire a new person?
Well, what would happen is if I'm lucky enough to become town clerk, then I would hire a deputy to fill my spot. And then that deputy, obviously, it could be somebody that's already trained. It could be somebody that's
That you would train.
new, and that we would train. But we have an incredible staff in our office.
How many people on the staff?
We have Elena Panaggi. She's one of our clerks.
Yes.
And we have Tom Travis. He really does records retention and management for us. He also works in the town clerk's office, and he knows how to do certain things. But they're an incredible team. We've worked together for 12 years. We all know how to do each other's job. Everybody's cross-trained. So there's no lag time for me. Coming in, I'm already
You hit the ground
ready to
running.
go.
You hit the ground running.
I'm already ready to go.
You love your job?
I do. I really love working in a community that I grew up in, and I have lived in for many, many years. My parents raised us here, and
Where'd you
it's
go to
just
high
great.
school?
I went to Yorktown High School.
So you went to high school in Yonkers or the Bronx? The
Bronx. I went to the Bronx
But
high schools.
your kids have gone to Yorktown High School?
My kids have gone to Yorktown
See,
High School.
my kids went to Lakeland. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Lakeland High School. Well, both excellent school systems.
Yes.
Yes.
So what advice do you have? People that have a problem that need to come to town hall for something. Go right to the clerk's
I say
office?
go to the town clerk's office, because no matter what it is, we'll be able to either guide you in the right direction or help you with any problem that you have. And we do that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I think that's one of our biggest keys in our office is compassion. And we try to help everybody.
Yeah. Now that you've been in this campaign for so many months, Richard, looking back on it, if you had to start the campaign tomorrow all over again, would you do anything differently? Maybe buy more signs?
Maybe 5 more signs. I think
How about
I
no?
still got enough science. Though.
I never did signs until the
Yeah.
last time I ran. I hate signs. I hate them. I think they're a scourge. But the last time I ran, everybody else had hundreds of signs. So I think, well, people said, "You're not running." I said, "But I am." So I was forced to go out and get a few signs, and then I felt depressed because all my opponents, who were good, by the way, all friends of mine. They're all
Yeah.
friends of mine. I don't have any real opponents, but they had hundreds of signs. I had 2 Jim Matarano signs. I was like, I guess I'm getting swamped, and I did actually. But
those
people start
signs-
judging
yeah.
you by your signs. How
I
many
think
signs
those
do you have?
signs are important for name recognition. I remember when my opponent started putting his signs up. I hadn't put any signs up. I was getting calls from I have a number of clients that live in Yorktown Heights.
And they were saying,
They're calling up, Rich, you got to get signs. Where are your signs? You got to get signs. I'm like,
Well,
don't worry, they're coming.
Councilman Patel, who's running for supervisor, has no signs.
He's never used signs.
Right, he never
Never
used
used
signs.
signs.
See, I wish I had his tenacity about signs, because I buckled. Nick Bianco and I were running, this is back when, and Nick had never used signs either. Then we caved and we're using the signs all over the place. But signs are rough.
It's rough. It's a lot of work, and I think a lot of people don't like them.
Now, there's gonna be a debate. Let's talk a little bit about that. Well, this is going to air a number of Wednesdays, and a couple of the times it airs, it'll be after the debate. But if somebody happens to watch it before the debate, we might as well tell them when it is. You're going to have a debate. It's not really a debate. Tell us a little bit. Tell the audience a little bit about running for judicial.
As judicial candidate,
you cannot.
We really can't debate.
Politically,
we can't mention anything political. We can't give legal opinions. We can't.
I was going to ask you a couple
how. We can't tell you how we would decide on a case or an existing case or even a future potential case, because it may actually
no
come up in
hypotheticals
front
tonight.
no hypotheticals. We're not allowed to do that. So there's not really a lot to talk about, besides courtroom efficiency or my background, training, education. So what they do for the judicial candidates is they give us a 3-minute statement to talk about.
You can, and this is going to be at the theater, and this is going to be the Monday night, the 19th.
19th.
Is that right?
Correct.
And then on Wednesday, the 21st, are going to be the supervisors. But
correct.
You all will be there that Monday along with the councilman candidates.
Councilman candidates.
And you will get 3 minutes to say, who are you?
Who am I? Why I think I should have the job.
Okay, so
what kind of job would I would
let's
do.
fast forward. This is breaking news on this show, All About Town with Jim Matarano. You're at the thing. Give me 1 minute of what you're going to say on the 19th.
Well,
who are you?
Right, Richard Abbate, born in the Bronx, public school kid, graduated Bronx School of Science, went to New York University I got an undergraduate degree in chemistry.
Really?
Yeah, then I don't know if I'm going to tell this, but I was actually a Teamster for a couple of years. I drove
There's
a
nothing
truck.
wrong with that.
I drove a trailer truck, mostly because my dad did it and it was a good paying job, and he got me in the union. I just wanted to make money, but after a couple of years, I'm like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life being a trailer truck driver. So I went to law school, and my experience has been really varied. I worked at personal injury firms down the city, then insurance carrier, in-house counsel, and insurance carrier. Then I did a long time, I worked for an insurance defense firm doing strictly litigation. That's defendants work for trip and falls or auto accidents or construction accidents or all that. And then I got the idea to open my own practice. That was in 2000, and then I did real estate.
And why should we vote for you this term?
Well, you should vote for me because I can be completely fair and impartial. One of the things about my race is I'm not accepting any endorsements. I haven't really sought out any endorsements. I'm not going to accept any endorsements because I feel like when I go to an organization or somebody and say, "Hey, endorse me," then I'm asking them to publicly tell the world, hey, this is a great guy, vote for him. That's going to help me get elected. And human nature being what it is, how do I not feel like I owe them something? What if they come into my courtroom? And how do I feel? How do I be really fair and impartial?
Financial contributions, how do you feel about that?
Well, financial contributions, they're necessary. But one of the things as a judicial candidate is I'm not allowed to know who donated to me.
Right.
So we keep that separate. I have a treasurer who asks for donations and takes care of that and does not inform me about who donated to my campaign. Okay. We keep that wall up.
So if in a nutshell, your courtroom will be one of fairness and openness.
Correct. Fairness and openness. Going to listen to both sides. Going to judge the evidence and make a decision.
Former Teamster.
Former Teamster. I was a Teamster.
Overall nice guy.
Yep.
That's right. And what about yourself? You're going to come the 19th. You're going to have a 3-minute statement as well?
We'll have a 3-minute statement, my understanding is, and then we'll field some questions. Both
you're going to have questions. See, you got it easy, Rich. She's got questions. And if you were going to give us on this show a preview of part of your 3-minute statement, who are you and why should people vote for you?
Well, I'm your deputy town clerk. I've been your deputy town clerk for 12 years. I'm certainly experienced. I'm definitely qualified, and I'm ready to do the job. I've trained for the last 12 years. When Alice brought me to the town, it was, for me to take her job someday. And I always strive to be able to do that every day.
The day has come.
Yep,
the day has
that's
come.
True.
And what about yourself? Now, this is a campaign that's going on for quite a while. You're coming down the home stretch. If you had to look back and do it over again, would you do anything differently? You
don't-
do signs?
I
You
don't
have
think
signs.
so.
I've seen your signs.
Yes, I have put some signs out, mostly on private property. So I do have some signs, but I don't think I would do anything differently. I've run a positive campaign. I've gone out and meted and greeted people in our community. Some of them, recognize me from coming to the town clerk's office and working in the town clerk's office. But it's been a positive experience. I love going out and meeting people. I love helping people. So for me, it's just something, I have 29 years of managerial experience overall, and I just love being able to help people.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, So I guess I don't have to go to the 19th now that I've heard the two statements, right?
Correct. Unless you want to hear the councilman.
Well, yeah,
Unless you want to
that's
hear the
true.
councilman,
That's
then
true.
you have
My
to go.
good friend
true.
Lanny Gilbert's going to give us. Lanny actually ran for judgeship 4 years ago, and I must tell you, his 3-minute statement I think was wonderful. I always thought highly of him, but his 3-minute statement knocked me off my chair. It was really fantastic. Tell me a little bit about. And I didn't ask you this. How many your children? How many children? I met your daughter the other day.
I don't two children.
Never met her before.
I have a daughter. She's married. She lives in the town of Yorktown with her husband Tim. I have a grandson who's going to be 1 year old, October 13th, next Tuesday, and I have a son that's going to be 12 in November.
Oh, wow. See, I never met your daughter before, and you look too young to be you're a grandmother.
I'm a grandmother.
How does it feel being a grandmother?
I love being a grandmother.
You do?
I have such a great time with my grandson. They're just, it just, every day is just a new day, and you just want to go visit them every day.
You do?
You know, because they change so quickly, and you don't want to miss any of that.
Yeah, my son seems like he was born yesterday. He's 32 now. It's like it goes by so fast.
It goes by really quick.
What part of the Bronx did you grow up in?
Throgs Neck.
And where'd you go to high school?
Bronx High School of Science.
Okay. And then you went to
New York University.
And then Pace.
And then Pace for School of Law.
What was Pace like? Did you enjoy it?
I did. I loved law school. I loved law school because it was always something interesting going on.
Right.
And I loved the Socratic method. I loved the back and forth and everybody talking and debating and talking. I loved law school.
Yeah?
I loved being going to law school.
So in your courtroom, you would enjoy the back and forth of the different adversaries.
Yes. Unless they're talking too much.
He reveals the tough
well,
part of
when a
Richard
lawyer
comes out.
mentions something for the 4th time in a row, you
That's
need
enough.
to move on to something new.
That's enough. It's funny because my last show I had Susan Cason, whose father was a judge I first appeared in front of in my first trial, and she was a friend of mine for a long time. And she was a DA who was assigned to Yorktown. So she started on the circuit. Now she's a judge and county court judge, very popular, and maybe someday a future DA of Westchester County. But she began and when she was in the circuit, Mark Dillon was her judge. Mark Dillon's a good friend of mine. He's a wonderful man, who's done a lot of great things in his life, who's now in the appellate division. And but last month she reminded me that she was the Yorktown DA. Your most interesting experience in court in your career was what?
Most interesting experience in court.
Or the best moment?
Best moment? I'll tell you what, most interesting experience. Wasn't the best moment.
Go ahead.
One of the things I do is I'm on the panel to be, one of the things I do, I'm actually a guardian for an incapacitated person. I do that pro bono. So I'm on the panel to be appointed for incapacitated persons. So I got a call from Bronx Supreme Court. They had a homeless guy in a hospital in Jacoby. He had the doctor wanted to amputate his leg and he was refusing. So the court wanted me to go down and be the court examiner to talk to this guy and see if he really understood what he was doing or not. So I got a call, I ran down to Jacoby Hospital, tracked the guy down, and it was too late. No, he didn't pass away. The doctor took his leg anyway.
Oh.
So that was probably one of the most interesting things I've had to do. I always remember that.
What about you, Diana? What was an interesting thing in town clerk?
We always have something new coming up.
Always something
you
new?
You never know what's going to come in. We have so many things. But, for me, every day is different. Every day is interesting. Working with, Elena and Tom, it's just a great team. And that's really what makes the day go fast.
Election day is November what?
3rd.
November 3rd.
3rd, Tuesday. Yeah, I know. See,
Tuesday.
I used to circle it on my calendar. And November 4th, are you going to be relaxed? Are you going to finally breathe a sigh of relief?
I'm going to relax.
I'll be working.
Are you going to go
I'm going to
away?
relax. I've X'd myself out of my schedule for November 4th. Win or lose, I'm just taking the day.
You're taking the day.
And yeah, and I am going to go away. About 2 weeks later, I booked a trip to Las Vegas for 3 days, 4 days.
Don't spend it all in one place. Now, one of the things that's come out of this campaign, people have told me that are working on different campaigns. Your wife's been an incredible asset.
Correct. She's
your
very
biggest
organized.
supporter, and
She's my biggest supporter. She's incredibly organized.
she's gone through
She
this
keeps
ordeal.
me going.
It's an ordeal.
It is. She works harder than me.
She works harder than you, yeah.
Harder than me.
She's
Yes.
so that, it's kind of brought you
lucky.
together in spite
In
of
that respect, yes.
yeah, in spite of the fact you're out of the house all the time.
Out of the house, but it's
So-
but she's also a school teacher, special ed teacher in the Bronx. So she leaves the house early in the morning. So I usually get up with her at 5:30. This way we get 20 minutes together to plan the day. What's going on? What do you got?
I have you know that Gary Raniolo, who's been on the show, and he gets up like 3:30 in the morning. It's incredible. When I look at the clock, I always think Gary's up already. Because to me, 3:30 means the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still sleeping, you know. So you get up what time?
5:30 I get up.
Wow.
I always get up. I'm always a really
What about
riser.
yourself? What time do you get up?
I get up about 6:30.
6:30? That's
you know,
right, that's right.
Yeah, it's about 6:30. My son gets the bus about 10 to 7.
That's
or
right.
so.
Your son's still little, you know.
Yeah, he is. Nick is, but he's been very supportive of my campaign. He goes out with me all the time, knocks on doors with me, talks about me. One time he actually went and met a couple on his own. We were in the same complex. And then he brought me back there to meet them, and they said, "We already know all about you because Nick's already told you." So it's really great. And my daughter, who's works as my campaign manager, is just incredible.
Your daughter's your campaign manager.
Yeah, she's really been incredible, and she does a tremendous amount of work for me.
Yeah, it's not, thank God for the two of you running for office. I mean, I always say this, when I ran, I always considered people running against me to be my colleagues, and that they should be applauded, win, lose, or draw. Because without people like yourself and your opponents who are willing to put in the time, put in the energy, take the abuse, and there's a lot of abuse, democracy couldn't function. So you're both to be commended, win, lose, or draw, for going out there day after day, putting out ideas, putting yourself forward, being vulnerable. I always felt like an election was like, my name was kind of, it was like they were judging me in a way, positive or negative. So there's a certain vulnerability. You feel a little vulnerable.
I agree. I feel,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's been a real privilege just to been able to run, to be there, to give people a choice. So people, it's democracy. People have a
That's
choice.
right. You feel
win
the
or
same way.
lose.
I do, I really do. And
Yeah,
I know even Rich has gone out and spoken to the seniors on some elder law and things like that. And I thought, it's really brought both of us. We've gotten to meet a lot of seniors, and we feel that we can help them in a lot of ways. And I think that's important. Seniors are very important in our community.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming on the show. I mean, this is not easy for you. You're very busy, and things are very, very tight right now. Your time is very tight, but you were nice enough to come on, and I want to thank you both. And I
Thank
want
you
to
for
wish you
having
both,
us. Thank you very
both
much.
luck.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Half an hour went by fast. didn't
Yes,
it?
Went
it did.
fast.
Yes, it did.
This is Jim Matarano from All About Town, thanking you for watching the show, and I hope you consider these two candidates. They're very good people, as are everybody that's running is a good person. So please read all the material you can get. What's important about a democracy, what's essential about a democracy, is that you're informed and you make an informed choice. And I hope you come out to vote on November the 3rd.
Third.
Is that
November
right?
the 3rd.
Come
Yep.
to the debates if you can at the Town Theater on November the
19th.
19th.
October 19th.
October 19th.
Yeah, November 19th. Don't go November 19th. You'll miss it. October 19th.